forgive me for a second.
Yeah, mine's that's part of what brought us together. Like she liked my last name and the whole thing. Yes. Right. Yeah. You don't mind it? No, you don't. Right.
Interesting. Wow. I like that. All right, so we're going to wait on that.
Yeah, hopefully not very long.
Is the man of the hour here?
That's right.
Okay.
Was not working. It was like dead. They couldn't get it.
Oh no!
Oh man! Most of them had left like without a phone or anything like that. So one of them had one, and so they were able to make contact and get in.
Oh no! How awful! Took a
yeah,
while.
they're like in that one of those English houses in whatever it is.
Yeah. Oh, that's awful. Well, I probably had a late night. Everything worked out okay last night?
It was beautiful.
Good.
I mean, it was wonderful. You know, with the heaters, it worked well. One of the heaters didn't work, but that's okay. You know, and it was, it was really, really nice. And people had a wonderful time. No one was rushing to leave.
Oh, good.
We were not, it wasn't cold out.
You weren't too cold.
No, it was wonderful. Man, it's a really nice addition to the synagogue. That really worked out very well.
It is nice. It's very nice. You're
Now
right.
we're just hoping the rain clears so that we can all enjoy lunch.
That would be nice. Well, hopefully.
Probably have you just, when you do your announcements at the end, remind people, hey, just keep your masks on. You know, synagogue policy, just keep your mask on. When
I will, since we're changing.
Just so they don't know if they're taking it off in line, and I don't want to be. None of us wants to be a police
I think it's
person.
all outside though, right?
Yeah, I think
having everything set up.
Maybe, I don't know if they're right. I think they may be actually walking through the line.
Yeah.
Everybody's sitting outside.
Yeah.
They'll be sitting there.
I haven't seen Phil yet either. She's usually around. You ready to rock and roll today? Shabbat. Okay.
Fast and walking and
Gotta get going. And you know what? I'm the father of the
no, I know, he knows.
You get prime location. You get prime seating. All right, are we ready to... You have your piece of paper from last night? You do? You're going to be right from center stage, as they say. Yeah, you got it there. All right, Shane has his notebook, his binder. We can put that up here. I have an extra copy. All right. If not, I will call pages for you. I can handle that. I think I've done it a few times. Maybe once or twice. We're going to get going this morning. We've had a crew of walkers in the rain, unfortunately. A rare occurrence for the most part in this area, but it is winter, it is rainy a little bit, but we're going to clear up. I have a feeling by the end there will be very nice weather. We will bring it out. We will make it happen as we celebrate Shane's bar mitzvah and the extended Epstein, Dickstein family, Barenblatt. We got everybody going today. Don't worry, I'll call pages for you. I should have made 2 copies. When you took that last night, I'm like, I should have kept it here. That was great.
Well, was it with me on the way here? The question is, where is it now? Oh,
No,
I checked them all.
Not just check. You're fine, don't worry about it. We're going to go 103 straight through 112, and then we're going to skip to 120. So right now we're straight through until 120.
Okay. And could you stir up and on? Do I do it?
Yeah, you do it unless you want me to do it. I can do it.
Okay. That
I'll
works.
do it.
Yeah.
I'll do it. Okay, not a problem, because we haven't been yet, so we'll have it.
Perfect.
We don't always have it. Well, we begin this morning, as we do every morning, with Birkot HaShachar, our blessings that get us into the mood, remind us of how special our bodies and our brains and our minds and our families are. As we rise, page 103, as Zach leads us in Birkot HaShachar, 103.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan l'sechli bina le'avchin ben yom u'ben layla.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani b'tzalmo.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani ben chorim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani Yisrael.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokev kefufim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rukah haaretz al hamayim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamachin mitzadei gaver.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shesali kol tzarki.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozer Yisrael b'gvura.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam oter Yisrael b'tifara.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten la'ev koach. Baruch
Amen.
Adonai.
May be seated.
V'nei hayom v'chol yom l'cheinu chesed rachamim beinecha v'nei choroinu v'tigmenu chasedim tovim Baruch atah Adonai gamal chasedim tovim l'mo Yisrael.
Amen. Le'olam yeh Adonai Shemayim v'setzei regalu. We're on 105.
Ashrenu matov chalkenu umanaim goralenu umayafa yerushatenu Ashrenu shanachnu mashkimim umarivim erev ravoker b'amrim pa'amim b'chol yom
Shema Yisrael Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Malchutav.
Kadesh Shimcha al Makdishay Shemecha v'Kadesh Shimcha be'olamecha Meshuatecha Tarim b'Tagbir Karnenu Baruch Atah Adonai Kadesh Shimcha be'Rabim.
Amen. Page 107 through 109, you'll find various texts for study. If you look on the bottom of 107 on the left side in the English and in the Hebrew, you'll find a passage from the Talmud from Kiddushin 39b. These are the deeds that yield immediate fruit and continue to yield fruit in the time to come. Things like honoring parents, performing deeds of kindness and love, attending the house of study morning and evening, providing hospitality, visiting the sick, helping the needy bride, attending the dead, probing the meaning of prayer, making peace between one person and another, and between husband and wife. And of course, under all of that, Torah, Talmud Torah, Keneged Kulam, the Torah is most basic of them all, and is the basis for learning all of these other mitzvot. Certainly, as Shane becomes a bar mitzvah today, these are the mitzvot that he will continue to do for the rest of his life as he works to make this world and his own life the best that it can be. So keep that Talmudic passage in mind as we turn over to the paragraph on page 110 under the Aleph.
Yirtzam Efanecha and Eileen of Levatenu, Shetitin Chalkenu B'Toratecha, V'Niyad, Mitamidav Shal Aaron HaKohen, Ohev Shalom Verdiv Shalom, Ohev Et Abriot, Karban LaTorah.
Page 111, you'll find Kaddish Rabbanan if you'll rise as we recite. Yit Gadal V'Yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, V'Yalma Divrach Yirutei V'Yamlich Malchutei, V'Chayechon V'Yamechon V'Chayei Dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala Uvizman Kariv V'Imru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Le'olam Olomei Olmaya. Yitbarach V'Yishtabach V'Yitpa'ar V'Yitromam V'Yitnaseh. V'Yitadar V'Yitalev V'Yitalal Shemei Dekudisha B'Richu. Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'Shirata Tushbechata V'Nechemata Da'amiran V'Alma V'Imru Amen. Al Yisrael V'Al Rabbanan V'Al Talmidei Hon V'Al Kol Talmidei Hon V'Al Kol Mond Oskin V'Araita Di V'Atra Hadain V'Di V'Chol Atar V'Atar Lahain Ulahon Uchon Shlama Rabba China V'Chista V'Rachamin V'Chagin Arichin U'Mizona Revicha U'For Kana Min Kodam Avulhon Di V'Shmaya V'Imru Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'chayim tovim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'romav hu berachamav ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. You are welcome to be seated. We continue with the Psalm for Shabbat on page 112. Ayom Yom Shabbat.
Ayom Yom Shabbat Kodesh. ועוד ינבון בשיבה דשנים ורעננים יהיו, להגיד כי ישר אדוני, סירי ולא בלעת בו.
We turn over to page 120. There you'll find the psalm, the 30th psalm. Mizmor Shir,
מזמר חנוכת הבית לדוד. הפכת מזבודי למחלי, פתחת זקי ותזרני שמחה, למען יזמרך כבוד ולא ידם, אדוני אלוהי לעמדך.
Page 121, you'll find Kaddish Tome, the mourner's Kaddish. Those reciting, if you will rise and join with me. 121. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Bi'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute, B'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam v'lomei omaya. Yit barach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei dekudisha, b'richu, la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran v'yalma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. We rise on page 122. There you will find Baruch She'amar. Zach leads us.
Baruch She'amar v'ya'olam. Baruch Oseh v'reshit.
Baruch Omer v'yosef.
Baruch HaGozer Mekayem.
Baruch Merachem haaretz.
Baruch Merachem al habriyot.
Baruch Meshalem Sachar Tov l'Reav.
Baruch Alad v'kayam lanetzach.
Baruch Podel Matzil. Baruch Shema. Baruch Atah Adonai.
Yachid Chayolami, Melech Meshubach Umfar Adei Ad Shema HaGadol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Melech Me'olah Batish Bacho.
Amen. You are welcome to be seated. We turn over to page 136. There you will find Ashrei. 136.
Ashrei Shvevitzecha Yelich HaSelah. Tehillat Adonai Daber Pi V'Varech Kol Basar Shem Gashol Olam Va'ed Anachnu Nevarech Ya Me'atav Yad Olam Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. 137.
Shmer Kareem and Tom Yamanaya dead V'Derech L'Shaim Yavet Yimloch Adonai La'olam El Harchsi on the Dover Door. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Get it somewhere. Hagid Devar Abba Yaakov Ukav Mishpatav Yisrael Lo Asa Chen L'chol Goy Mishpatim B'Yadum Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Yaram Keralamo Tilacho Chasidav Livnei Yisrael Am Keravo Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Aliyah Shalom Rashid. לאסור מלאכיהם בזיקים ונכבדיהם בחבלי ברזל, לעשות בהם משפט כתוב, ודרכו לכל חסידיו, הללויה.
141.
Kol Anshamat Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Kol Anshamat Hallelujah, Hallelujah.
We turn over to page 145, where you'll find Nishmat Kol Chai.
Nishmat Kol Chai, Tekerech Hashem Kadonai Eloheinu. האל בתעצמת עזך, הגדול בכבוד שמך, הגיבור לנצח והנורא בנורתך, המלך היושב על כיסא רם ונישא.
With that, we conclude our preliminaries that get us going into the Shabbat spirit this morning, as we have a cousin duo going on today. We have Zach leading us in Psukei de Zimra and Jory coming forward to lead us in Shacharit. Before we begin our Shacharit service, however, we'd like to invite up Shane, if you'll come forward with your talit, along with your grandfather. Alan, if you'll come forward as well. As now is the time that we traditionally make sure that you have donned your talit and said the blessing, and your grandfather has the honor of helping you with that. Got it?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher tisham et atah v'tivanu v'hi yatef bat tzitzit.
Beautiful. Say Yishkach. Shane, you're going to hang up here a little bit. Once you lock your grandfather down, we'll have you come back up. Very nice. You want to go take a seat? As we call Jory, one of your cousins, Jory Epstein, comes to the Bima to lead us in Shacharit this morning. Page 147, you will find the formal beginning of our Shacharit service as she leads us.
Shochenad maram v'kadosh shemo.
Shochenad maharam v'kadosh shemo.
Befi yesharim tithalal udivrei tzadikim titbarach uvilshon chasidim titromam uvekerev kedoshim titgadash makala rivivot amcha beit Yisrael. Shekein chova kol hayitzurim lefanecha Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu lehodot lehalel leshabech lefa'er leromem lehader levarech le'alei ukales al kol divrei shirot v'tishbechot David ben Yishai, Avdecha Meshichecha.
We rise.
Yishtabach Shimcha La'ad Malkeinu.
148 at the top.
Brachot v'hodot me'atavi ad olam Baruch atah Adonai El melech gadol batishbachot El hodot Adon haniflot Habocher b'shirei zimra Melech El chei ha'olamim.
Middle of 148, Chatzi Kaddish.
Yikadal v'yikadash shemei Rabba.
Amen.
Yamad yivrach yirtei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon uvyomechon uchayei dechol beit Yisrael bagala ubizman kariv v'yimeru amen Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam olam me'amaya yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipar v'yiramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha brichu le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiram v'yama v'yimeru amen.
149.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach le'olam va'ed.
Page 150 at the top. Baruch atah Adonai Elohim melech haolam Yotzer or uvorei choshech Oseh shalom uvorei et hako Hagol yoducha v'hakol shevachucha.
Ein kerech echad Adonai Eloheinu ba'olam hazeh v'yein zuladcha malkeinu l'chayei ha'olam haba efes biltecha go aleinu limot haMashiach v'yein demelech haMoshienu litchiat hametim.
151.
El Adon al kol ha'masim baruch u'mvor B'Shvi Kol Neshama Gadla V'Tuvo Ma'alei Olam Da'atu Tvuna Sovavimoto Hamikael Chayot HaKodesh V'Nedar B'Chavod Al HaMirkava Zechutu Mishor Lifnei Chisal Chesed V'Rachamim Lifnei Chevodo Tovim Me'orot Shebara Eloheinu Yitzaram B'dat B'vinav Haskel Koach Ugvura Natan Bahem Liot Moshlim Bekerev Tevel Meleim Zivu Mefikim Noga Na'ezivam Bechol Ha'olam Semechim B'tzeitam V'sasim B'voam Osim B'eim Aretzon Konam Pe'er V'chavod Notnim Lishmo Tzahal Verina Lezecher Malchuto Kara Lashamesh V'Yizrachor Ravehit Kin Surah Tavana Shevach Notnim Lo Kol Tzevam Aram Tiferet Ugedula Srafim V'Yofanim V'Chayot HaKodesh
152. Lahem Asher Shabbat Mikol Nosim. Tifarach Moshin Asher B'Kat Yedecha V'Yabayram Tzitani Avil Chaselo.
Titbarach Moshienu al Shavach Masayodecha V'yam Me'orei Or She'asita Yefarucha Sela
153.
V'chulam potchim epihem b'kdusha Haftarah b'shira v'zimra u'mbarachim u'mshalchim u'farim u'maritzim u'makdishim u'mamlichim Hashem ha'el ha'melech ha'gadol ha'gibor v'hanora kadosh hu V'chulam mekablim alehem o malchut shamayim ze mizeh v'notnim reshut ze lazeh lakdish lirotzam b'nachat ruach b'safa v'ra v'nima kedusha kulam ke'achad onim v'yomrim be'yira kadosh 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 Adonai tzvaot melocho ha'aretz kevodo V'yofanim v'chayot ha'kodesh b'ra'ash gadol minasim le'umatzrafim le'umatam meshavchim v'yomrim Baruch kevod Adonai mimkomo Or chadash al Tzion ta'ir Or chadash al Tzion ta'ir V'nizkechu lanu mehera le'oro Mehera le'oro Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer ha'me'oro
Amen. We continue continue with Ahava Rabbah, page 154.
Ahava Rabbah Tanu Adonai Eloheinu Chem Lagidol Avitera Chamalta Aleinu Avinu Malkeinu Bavur Avotenu Vimotenu Shebachu Vecha Shebachu Vecha Avinu Malkeinu Vatelam Dem Chukei Chaim Kein Techanenu Tlamdenu Avinu Ha'av Harachaman Amrachim Rachem Aleinu V'tein Belibenu Lehavin Lehavinu Lehaskil Lishma Lilmodu Lelamed Lishmor Velasot Ukayim et Kol Divrei Talmud Torah Techa B'Yava V'ha'erinenu B'Torah Techa V'dabek Libeinu B'mitzvotecha V'yached Levaveinu Le'ahava U'yira et Shemecha V'lo nevash Le'olam v'en V'lo nevash Le'olam v'en Ki v'shem kadshecha Hagadol v'hanora b'tachnu Nagila v'nismecha Nagila v'nismecha b'yeshuatecha V'havienu l'shalom Me'arba kanfot haaretz V'tolichenu komemiut le'artzenu Ki el po'el Yeshuatata Uvanu v'charta mikolam b'lashon V'keratanu l'shimcha hagadol Selah be'emet Lehodol lecha U'yachedcha be'ahava Baruch atah Adonai Habocher b'emo Yisrael be'ahava
Amen.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Ve'yavta et Adonai Elohecha B'chol levacha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha V'hayu hadvarim ha'ele Asher anavim etzavecha hayom al levavecha V'shinatam levanecha v'dibartam V'shivtecha b'beitecha u'letecha b'derech u'shachbecha u'kumecha u'kshartam leot al yadecha V'hayu tatavot b'neinecha u'taftam al mezuzot beitecha u'v'hisharecha
We join together in the English on 155 on the left. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all that is yours. These words that I command you this day shall be taken to heart. Teach them again and again to your children. Speak of them when you sit in your home, when you walk on your way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand and as a symbol above your eyes. Inscribe them upon the doorposts of your homes and on your gates. We continue silently, 156. Middle of page 156, you'll find the biblical instruction to wear the tzitzit, a reminder of the mitzvot. Again, today, Shane, as a bar mitzvah, accepts the responsibilities of fulfilling the mitzvot through his life. And as we recite, we have the custom of taking the tzitzit, kissing them. It's a little hard with a mask. So one of the ways I've been doing it differently is putting the tzitzit up to my heart, tapping my heart as I say the word to remind myself that they are indeed precious to us, and that, again, as Shane becomes a bar mitzvah, he adds himself to the link in the chain of our community and of our history and of those who seek to fulfill the mitzvot. Page 156 in the middle, we join together. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor, daber el bnei Yisrael v'amarta alehem, v'yasu lahem tzitzit al kanfei bigdeihem lidorotam, v'natnu al tzitzit hakanaf b'til tefileh, v'haya lachem litzitzit uritem oto uzchartem et kol mitzvot Adonai v'asitem otam v'lo taturu acharei levavchem v'acharei einechem asher atem zonim achareihem leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem
Adonai Elohechem Amen.
Yatziv nacham b'kayam yashar. Top of 157.
Lador vador hu kayam ushmo kayam b'chiso nachon u'malchuto v'yemunato liad kayamet. Malkeinu malchavotenu v'imotenu, go'aleinu go'alavotenu v'imotenu, yotzreinu tzor yeshuatenu, podenu matzilenu me'olam shemecha, in Elohim zulatecha. Ezrat avotenu v'imotenu, azahu me'olam. Tehilot le'alayon baruch hum varach Moshe v'Miriam v'nei Yisrael lechanu shira b'simcha rabba ve'amru chulam mi chamocha b'elim Adonai mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh Norah Tehilot Osef sifat hayam yachad kulam hodu v'himlichu ve'yameru Adonai imloch le'olam
We
va'ed
rise.
Sur Yisrael kuma be'ezra Yisrael uvdeichenu mecha Yehuda ve'Yisrael go aleinu Adonai tzvot shema Kedosh Yisrael Baruch atah Adonai Gal Yisrael.
We begin the Amidah together, page 159, towards the left side of the right page.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol V'Zocher Chastei Avot V'Imahot Umevi Goel Livnei V'neihem Leman Shemo B'Yahava Melech Ozer Foked U'Moshia U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ufoked Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechaye Meitim Atah Rav Lehoshia Mashiv Haruach Umarid Hagashem Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed Mechaye Meitim Berachamim Rabim Samech Noflim Verofei Cholim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Michamocha Baal Gevurot Umido Melech Melech Meimit Umechaye Umatzmiach Yeshua V'ne'eman Taliach Hayot Meitim Baruch atah Adonai Mechaye HaMeitim. Nekadesh et shimcha ba'olam kishem shemakdishim oto bishmei maram kakatuv al yad neviecha v'kara ze el ze v'yamar kadosh 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 Adonai tzvaot melocho haaretz kevodo. Az bekol resh gadol adir vechazak mashmim kol minasim leumat serafim leumatam baruch yomeru baruch kevod Adonai mimkoma. Mimkom chamalkeinu tofia v'timloch aleinu ki mechakim anachnu lach matai timloch b'tzion bekarov beyameinu le'olam va'et tishkon Tit Gadav Tit Kadash B'toch Yerushalayim Ircha Ledor Vador Ledor Vador Ulenetzach Netzachim V'einenu tirena malchutecha kadavar hamur b'shirei uzecha al yedei David Mashiach tzidkechayim lo Adonai le'olam el hayach Sion ledor vador Hallelujah ledor vador ledor vador ledor vador nagid gad lecha ledor vador ledor vador ledor vador nagid gad lecha ulenetzach netzachim kedushatecha nakdish kedushatecha nakdish v'shivchacha Eloheinu mipinu lo yamush le'olam le'olam va'ed ledor vador ledor vador ledor vador nagid gad lecha ledor vador ledor vador ledor vador nagid gad lecha ki melech gadol gadol v'kadosh v'kadosh ata ki melech gadol gadol v'kadosh v'kadosh ata Baruch atah Adonai ha'el ha'kadosh
continue with the singing of Oseh Shalom on page 166 at the bottom.
Oseh Shalom Bimrama, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'imru, Amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Ve'imru, Amen.
We continue on page 167. There you'll find Kaddish Shalom.
Yikra v'ikra shemei Rabba. Amen. V'yalma divrei chirtei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yamechon, u'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agalav izman kariv v'yimeru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach, le'olam olam le'amaya, yibarach, yibarach v'shabach v'yizra'ar v'yidromam v'yinaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei d'kudesh ad brichu, le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiram be'alma v'yimeru. Amen. Tiglabel slotanu v'atam, d'chol Yisrael, kadam avuchon d'Ishmael v'yimeru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru. Amen.
Yasher Koach to Jory for leading us through Shacharit this morning. We are moving forward into the central part of our service, which is Seder Hotza'at Torah, our service for taking out and studying the Torah. A quick note before we take the Torah out, you will see in your handout there is a paragraph about the history of the Barenblatt Torah. You will see that Torah in just a few minutes. We are going to use that Torah as the symbolic passing of the Torah as we do through the generations in just a minute. And I encourage you to read about its history. It is a family Torah. It's very rare to have a family Torah, but it is a Torah that came over from Russia with Shane's great-great-grandfather, used it in their home here as they settled and had a minyan going in the neighborhood. It eventually, as you can see from the write-up, we think, found its way to Rodfei Shalom, then found its way to the Eleanor Kolitz Academy, and onward until eventually it found its way to a church that was located in the old Agudas Achim on Donaldson. And Lisa and Kevin were able to, with help from the Barenblatts, I think, were able to retrieve it. And now it stands in our ark today, and it will be used to pass the Torah as we pass through the generations, through the family onto Shane. So when you see this Torah, it is not a kosher Torah. We can't use it today. It needs a lot of repair. But it is indeed a special Torah. And so we honor it today. We honor the connection that Shane has to it through his family line as we pass that Torah today. So you will see that happening as we go through the Torah service. Page 168, you will find Seder Hotza'at Torah, our service for taking out and studying the Torah. Shane will have the honor of leading us in that service as I ask the congregation, if you're able to rise as we join together. 168.
Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai ve'ein kamasecha malchutecha malchut kol olamim u'memshaltecha b'chol dor v'dor. Adonai yevarech et amo b'shalom. Aharachamim heitiv avensoncha et Zion. Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim. Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim. Ki becha levad batachnu. Melech el benisa Adon olamim. Vayehi binso Aharon Vayomer Moshe Kuma Adonai Veyafutsu oivecha Veyanusu mesanecha mipanecha Ki mitzion teitzei Torah Ki mitzion teitzei Torah Udevar Adonai Mirushalayim Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Le'amo Yisrael B'kedushato.
Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, our God and God of our ancestors. As we stand before the Aron HaKodesh, we see the beautiful Torahs before us. We acknowledge that the Torahs contain the sacred words which our ancestors learned and taught and preserved for us as a heritage through all generations. May we, their children's children, ponder the words of the Torah. May we find as they did wisdom in its mitzvot and meaning in its stories. May we discover your presence in our lives as we place the Torah's teachings in our hearts. Together we recite the bracha, which reminds us that the mitzvah of studying Torah adds holiness to our lives each and every day. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Amen. We continue the bottom of page 170, Be Anarachet as Shane leads us.
Beyanarachet veli shemei kadisha kadisha yakira anaimar tushbechan beyanarachet beyanarachet veli shemei kadisha kadisha yakira anaimar tushbechan yeherava kadamach detiv talibi ve'oraita ve'tashlim mishalin delibi ve'liba decholamach Yisrael letavu chayin ve'lishlam. Amen.
Rav Chayim v'Kayamim al avotenu ve'alenu ve'al beinenu ve'al dorotenu. God's teachings are precious and everlasting. The Torah is God's eternal gift passed down from our ancestors to us, from grandparents to parents, from parents to child, through all the generations of the Jewish people. Today, Shane accepts his role as a link in the chain of the generations as this special Sefer Torah is placed in his arms. The words of the Torah are implanted in his heart. Page 171, you'll find Shema Echad Gadlu. We repeat after each of the first two lines as Shane leads us.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehadam raglav kadosh haromimu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho Yikadosh Adonai Eloheinu. As the Torah is on the shulchan, you are welcome to be seated. I'm going to study a little bit of Torah before we read from it. So this is a very intriguing text. For in this morning's parashah of Bo, we continue the story the Israelites struggled to leave Egypt as we experience the rendering of the 8th, the 9th, and the 10th, and then, of course, the 10th being the final plague, the slaying of the firstborn. Developing a personal theology is not an easy endeavor for anyone. And even as we might share differing views of God's nature and express questions of God's involvement in our lives, I think many of us who read the biblical text are bothered by the thought of God being a vengeful or hurtful God. I cannot imagine God being responsible for murdering innocent children, even to prove a point. My belief in God does not include a God that would punish children for the sins of their parents or for the sins of a leader like Pharaoh, nor engage in a petty test of control with that leader. So how do I understand the story of the 10 plagues? Well, for me, I think most certainly as a midrash, an opportunity for interpretation so that we can learn some lessons for life. The plague of the slaying of the firstborn becomes representative of a leader, if you will, namely Pharaoh, who was more concerned with holding on to his power than about the destiny of his people. The plague is a metaphor, for me anyway, which represents Pharaoh's willingness to sacrifice the next generation for the sake of maintaining his own political control. If we are to save the next generation, we must grant them the freedom to grow, to question, as we talked about last night, to think and to believe in the eternal ideas that may properly identify with God. The rabbis of the Talmud help us to see the Torah as providing these important lessons of life in the details of the text. So let me give you an example. For example, they note that the text tells us, and this is Exodus 12, 30 through 31 verses, Vayakom Paro Laila, Vayikra Moshe Ulaharon Laila. What word did you hear twice in that sentence? Lila. What's Lila? Night. Pharaoh rose up in the night, and he summoned Moses and Aaron, Lila, in the night. Now, of course, that stands out. Our sages asked, why is it it's so important to mention the fact several times in one sentence here that it was nighttime? Why does the text emphasize that Pharaoh went to seek Aaron and Moses while it was still dark outside, long before the community would have even been awake? Okay, well, first think about it. Where are Moses and Aaron located at this point? Where do they live? Do they live in the heart of Egypt? No, they live in Goshen, right? Goshen is across the railroad tracks, if you will, in the Jewish section of town, far removed from the palace. So we can picture, as this midrash suggests, Pharaoh coming out, roaming the streets, trying to find Aaron and Moses, so he can say to them the following, as the verse continues, Kumu tze'u mitoch ami. Get up and get out. Leave my people, both you and all the children of Israel, and go serve, worship your God as you asked to do. According to one midrash, Pharaoh couldn't seem to locate Moses and Aaron. He was roaming around the city. He was roaming around Goshen looking for them, calling out to them from the quiet street, but hearing no one answer. Pharaoh then asks passerbys to direct him to the home where Moses and Aaron are staying. This is the midrash. The people misdirect him at every turn, sending him from one place to another. We might imagine they enjoyed doing that. So here, do anybody know where Aaron and Moses are? Yeah, they're down the street that way. Okay, walk. Hey, I can't find, do you know where Aaron and Moses are? Knock. Anyway, no, yeah, they're down there. They're in the house over there. Where are you going? They're over there. Okay, go over there. So he goes over there. Hey, do you know, they're not here either? Where are they? Finally, says the midrash, Pharaoh locates the pair. Now, what are they doing? It's in the night. What are they doing? Again, that importance of telling us what time of day it is. They were, of course, in the midst of what? What were they doing? Their Passover Seder, right? They were in the midst of having their meal, explaining to the children what they were to do once they leave Egypt. We talked about that last night. The verse last night that says, right, make sure you tell them. So following the midrash says, okay, so what were they doing in the middle? Again, it's at night. Well, they were studying around the table. They had their blood on the doorposts, right? And that's what they were doing, this first Seder. And Moses has the chutzpah, according to the midrash, to make Pharaoh talk to him through the window, not even asking the king to come inside. Oh, yes, you knocked on the right door finally. Lift the window shade. What do you want? Imagine that. When Pharaoh asks Moses to lead the people out of Egypt immediately, even before sunrise, right? Get up, out now. Kumu tze'u mitoch ami. Get up and get out. Leave my people. Leave my people, says Pharaoh. Leave the Egyptians. What does Moses say? Nope. He refuses. What would a hasty departure in the middle of the night imply? Yeah, perhaps it would imply that the Israelites were embarrassed or concerned about their safety. Oh, well, we better get up fast. Let's go. This would give back to Pharaoh a sense of control. The idea that the Israelites were responding not to a mandate from God, but to a command from a human royal figure. This is all midrash, and it's wonderful midrash. And it continues with another, perhaps even more powerful message. As Moses says to Pharaoh, if you care about your people and about the survival of the next generation, then you must not command us to leave in fear, but rather set us free as a sign of your strength. Think about it. He's trying to teach him a lesson. It's an incredible image. conveying the message that strength is not in political control or in dominance, but in the fulfillment of ideals and acts of compassion and justice and righteousness. It really would make no difference to the Israelites if they were commanded to leave or they were simply set free. It really doesn't make a difference. They're going to go. But it makes a tremendous difference to the Egyptians who are watching their Pharaoh. The command to leave would come out of fear and insecurity. Get rid of them, get out of here. But the charge to set free, I set you free, comes out of compassion and a sense of justice, says the Midrash. Moses' message to Pharaoh was that the Israelites must wait through the night until all Egypt is awake. We're not hiding, we're not leaving in the dead of night, not skipping town. Only then in the dawn of day could Pharaoh, says the Midrash, having learned a lesson both in compassion and in leadership, step forward and say with some sense of dignity, "You are free to go." It's an interesting perspective that our ancestors in the Midrash came up with as they deal with this difficult passage of the final leaving of our people. I ask you to keep these thoughts, keep the Midrash in mind as we read through the text, apply its lessons to the text itself as we go through. That's the beauty of Midrash, the beauty of rabbinic commentary. We're going to begin our triennial study of Parshat Bo. You'll find you can follow along in your handout where you see the pages and the verses, page 387, verse 29. As we begin this, pick up this story, we're in the third shlish, the last third of the reading. So you'll see us in the final third of this chapter as we reconcile and go forward into this section of text.
Yazor Biogain Shialo Simbo and Omar Amen Akolo Grugo Daily Nuka Torah Ya Amod Ayeledrina Barhana Yita Moshe Yosef HaKohen Baruch Shenotam Torah Le'amo Yisroel B'Kedushato
Yatem havekim Adonai Elohechem Vayim kolchem hayom.
Yatem Advekim Adonai Elohim Hayim Kolhem Hayom.
For the Kohen Aliyah this morning, the congregation and the Bar Mitzvah family honor Ailette Weiss, Shane's cousin. The Torah reader for the Kohen Aliyah is Jocelyn Epstein. And as Rabbi Cohen said, the reading may be found page 367, beginning verse 29.
387.
Baruchu et Adonai Hamborach. Baruch Adonai Hamborach le'olam ba'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Amen. Vayehi b'chatzi halayla. Adonai, Yikako bechor be'eretz Mitzrayim, Mibchor Paro hayoshev al kiso, Ad bechor hashvi, Asher beveit habor, Bechor bechor behema, Vayakam Paro laila, Hu bechol avotav bechol Mitzrayim, Vatehi tzaka gedolah b'Mitzrayim, Ki ein bait, Asher ein sham made Vaikra Lemoshe Ulaharon Laila Vayomer Kumu Tseu Mitoch Ami Gamatem Gam B'nei Yisrael Ulhu Yivdu et Adonai Kedaberchem Gam Tonechem Gam Bekarchem Kehu Kasher Dibartem Velechu Uvirachtem Gam Oti.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Ya'amod Avraham Aryeh ben Sosha v'Moshe v'Zev HaLevi.
For the Levi Aliyah this morning, the congregation and the Bar Mitzvah family honor Leonard Epstein, Shane's uncle. The reading for the Levi Aliyah may be found page 387, beginning verse 33. The Torah reader is Benjamin Epstein.
In the second Aliyah, we find the wealth of the Egyptians is shared with the departing Israelites. Some say the Israelites took what they deserved after so many years of enslavement, while others argue that the Egyptians were so happy to see the Israelites leave, they helped them pack and sent them out with gifts. Please, let us help you. Here's some gifts as your parting gifts as you leave. From the description of the matzah that's baked in haste, most likely that second explanation, that latter description fits the best. The Egyptians wanted the Israelites to leave Egypt and to get out fast. Again, 387, verse 33.
Baruch Hu Adonai Barach. Baruch Adonai Barach Le'olam Voed. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vatechazak Mitzrayim al ha'am lemaher l'shalacham min haaretz ki ameru kulanu meitim. Vayisam et beteko terem yechmat misharotam tzururot besimlotam al shichmam uvnei Yisrael asu kidvar Moshe vayishalu mimitzrayim kelei chesef uchlei zahav usmalot V'Adonai natan et chenam b'nei Mitzrayim vayash ilum vayinatzelu et Mitzrayim.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chai olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Ya'amdu So Shabbat Yisrael v'Rachel v'Yosef Noah ben Sosha v'Moshe Zev HaLevi Shalishi.
For the Third Aliyah this morning, the congregation and the Bar Mitzvah family honor Sylvia Epstein, Shane's grandmother, and Jeff Epstein, Shane's uncle. The reading for the Third Aliyah may be found page 388, beginning verse 37, third line, page 388. The Torah reader is Sabrina Epstein.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Barach Le'olam Vahed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Le'olam Vahed. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayisu b'nei Yisrael me'amsei Sukkota keshesh me'ot elei fragli hagavarim levad mitav v'gam erev rahav ala yitam v'tzonu v'kar miknei kaved me'ahon vayifu et habatzek asher hotziu mimitzrayim ugot matzot kilo chametz ki gerushu mimitzrayim v'lo lachalil lahitmameha v'gam tzedah lo asu lahem umoshav b'nei Yisrael asher yashivu b'mitzrayim shloshim shana ve'arba me'ahot shana vayehi miket shloshim shana ve'arba me'ahot shana vayehi be'etzem hayom hazeh yitzu Otzivot Adonai me'eretz Mitzrayim, Leil Shmurim hu l'Adonai, Lehotziah me'eretz Mitzrayim, hu halayla hazeh l'Adonai, Shimurim lechol b'nei Yisrael ledorotam.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Yamdu Dov ben Meir Veleah Viet Zipporah bat Yosef Vasera Ravi'i.
In the previous Aliyah, we saw the Israelites beginning their journey, and according to the text, as Sabrina read, they were joined by Erev Rav, which is translated as a mixed multitude of peoples. Who were these peoples? Well, our commentators, like Rashi, suggest that they were simply people of other nations who had taken advantage of the Israelite departure and freed themselves from slavery. Ibn Ezra, a Spanish commentator, suggests that this Erev Rav were common Egyptians who had married into or had close friendships with the Israelite families and chose to join them. Whatever the case is, we tend to think about the Exodus as being just about us as Israelites, as Jews, but it's clear from the text that it was an opportunity for others to be freed from Egypt, others who perhaps had no spokesperson of their own or anyone to watch out for them. They too were freed from bondage in Egypt.
For the Fourth Aliyah this morning, the congregation of the Bar Mitzvah family honor Sherry and Brad Barenblatt, cousins of the Bar Mitzvah. The reading for the Fourth Aliyah may be found page 389, beginning verse 43. The Torah reader is Kevin Epstein.
Baruch hu Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayomer Adonai El Moshe v'Aharon zo hukad ha'pasach kol ben nechar lo yochal bo v'chol eved ish mignat kasef umalta ha'oto az yochal bo toshav b'sachir lo yochal bo b'vayit echad yeyachel lo totzi min habayit min habasar chutza ve'etem lo tishberu vo kol adat Yisrael ya'asu oto v'chi yagor itecha ger ve'asa pesach l'Adonai himol loko zachar hayaz yikra v'lasoto ve'haya kezrach ha'aret v'chol arel lo yochal bo Torah echad yeh le'ezrach v'lager hagar betochechem ve'asu kol b'nei Yisrael kasher tziva Adonai et Moshe v'et Haron kein asu v'yehi ve'etem hayom hazeh hotzi Adonai et b'nei Yisrael me'eretz Mitzrayim al tzivotam.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yashikach. We pause for just a moment for our Misha Baruch, for our Cholim, for those who are ill. Misha Baruch Avotenu Vimotenu Avraham Yitzchak V'Yakov Sarah Rivka V'Rachav Leah Yivarech V'Yarpeh Et Kol HaCholim. Aryu ben Shmuel, Aviva Rachel bat Avraham V'Tova, Bela bat Surah, Batya Leah bat Esther, Bela bat Malka, Chaim Shmuel ben Leah Yocheved, Daniel ben Sarah, Fegi Riva bat Basha, Feivel ben Rachel, Friedel bat Moshe, Hadassah bat Realeah, Hinda bat Chava, Kineret bat Batsheva v'Naftali, Leah bat Yehudit, Malka bat Zev, Masha bat Zisamarel, Moshe ben Miriam, Nechama Sarah bat David, Nechoma bat Yaakov, Perel bat Tama, Pesi Mendel bat Binyamin v'Rachel, Pinchas Velvel ben Leah, Rachel bat Devorah, Rachel bat Yehudit Chaya, Raphael ben Wolf, Rachel Chenya bat Noah v'Fega, Shendel bat Golda, Shimon ben Chana, Shlomit Chana bat Bela, Shoshana bat Pearl, Tova bat Sarah, Tzipora bat Yisrael v'Sara, Yaakov ben Shlomit Chana, Yechezkel ben Sarah, Yehudit Golda bat Elka, Yitzchak David ben Esther Chaya, Yoel ben Yosef, Yosef ben Avraham v'Sara, Tzivia Miriam bat Avigal Batya, Barbara Arno, Cara Rosalind Argo, Daniela Valdez Vasquez, Eddie Halfant, Elaine Marin, Elaine Munoz, Elna King, Gary Rosenthal, George Busey, Jill Testa, Kimberly Lang, Lindsay Argo, Maria Beck, Marion Braun, Mark Hermelin, Margot Adams, Mary Young, Marlene Austasher, Rosario Vasquez, Sarah Ibarra, Sharon Abelo, Sharon Hermelin, and to all whose names we recite aloud or within ourselves at this moment. HaKadoshim alei rachamim aleihem lahachazikam odorapotam vishlach lahem mehera refuah shlema l'chorehem v'gidehem b'toch shar cholei Yisrael refuat hanefesh u'refuat haguf v'nomar amen. May God, who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, grant the blessing of healing and health to all whose names we recited aloud or have within our thoughts at this moment. May God be with them and with those who care for them. May the Holy One strengthen them and bring them healing of body and soul, together with all others who are ill. And together we say, Amen.
For the fifth Aliyah this morning, the congregation and the Bar Mitzvah family honor Rachel and Jay Baker and Anna Baker, aunt, uncle, and cousin of the Bar Mitzvah. The reading for the fifth Aliyah may be found page 391, chapter 13, verse 1, first line, page 391. The Torah reader is Shane Epstein.
Yamdu Ida Rivka Bar Elia Ber Vasera V'yet Yaakov ben Leah v'Ruvain V'yet Aviva bat Yaakov V'yet Rivka.
In this Chamishi Aliyah, we study the ancient origins of Pidyon Haben. We talked about Sylvia having 4 sons, right? Yeah. So the firstborn, there was a tradition of redemption of that firstborn. We can trace it to the events here in the Exodus. Again, you'll find it at the top of the page, verse 1 on 391.
Adonai hambarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher baruch banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. V'adaber Adonai al Moshe lemor kadosh li kol bechor heter kol rehem b'bnei Yisrael b'adam u'v'bhema lihu v'yomer Moshe el ha'am zachor hayom hazeh asher yetzatem miMitzrayim mibeit avadim ki b'chazek yad hotzi Adonai echem mizeh v'lo yahel hamet hayom atem yotzim b'chodesh haviv.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam v'nasat b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Yamdu Elia Ber ben Shepsel v'Fega Rutka V'yet Ephraim ben Elia Ber Vasera V'yet Leah bat Binyamin v'Miriam she.
For the sixth Aliyah this morning, the congregation of the Bar Mitzvah family honor Alan Dickstein, Michael and Andrea Dickstein, grandfather, aunt, and uncle of the Bar Mitzvah. The reading for the sixth Aliyah may be found page 392, verse 5, first line, second word. The Torah reader for this Aliyah is Shane Epstein.
Baruch Hu Adonai HaBarach. Baruch Adonai HaBarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. V'chayakim Adonai Eler Sachnani V'chachiti V'chamori V'chachi V'chayevusi Asher Nishba Lavotecha Lateilach Erez Avat Halavud Vash V'avatah Et Havodah Hazot V'chodesh Hazeh Shiva Yamim Tochal Matzot Uvayom Hashvi'i Hag Ladonai Matzot Yachel Ein Shiva Hayamim V'lo Yireh Lecha Hamet V'lo Yireh Lecha Se'or B'chol Gevulecha V'higata Levinecha Bayom Hahu Lemor Ve'avur Zeh Asa Adonai Li V'zatem Mimisrayim V'chaya Lecha Le'yot Al Yadecha Uzikaron Beinenecha Leman Tiheyet Torat Adonai Beficha Ki Beyad Hazakah Hotiach Adonai Mimisrayim.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Natan Lanu Torat Emet V'chayei Olam Nata B'tochenu Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Ya Amdu Hayatapa Bat Sarah El Yerber Viet Koresh Michael Ben Sosha V'Moshe Zev Alevi Shavi'i.
In that last Aliyah, we saw the vestiges of something that we are familiar with today. If you saw in verse 9, V'haya lecha le'ot al yadcha. Make it as a sign on your hand, Ulazikaron bein einecha. And as a remembrance or a reminder, bein between your eyes. What are we describing? What are we describing? Tefillin. Thank you, Shane. Wait. Shane knows it. We're describing the tefillin that we wear as an oat, as a sign. Here is where we see this first biblical reference to wearing the tefillin in this past Aliyah that Shane just read.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaBarach. Baruch Adonai HaBarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
For the seventh Aliyah this morning, the congregation honors Kevin and Lisa Epstein. The reading for the seventh Aliyah may be found page 393, verse 11, first line, page 393.
Amen. B'shomarta echachuka hazot lemoada miyamim yamima v'haya kivyacha Adonai el eretz hafnani kasher nishba lecha v'lavotecha untana lach v'avarta kol peter rechem l'Adonai v'chol peter sheger behema asher yichayeh lecha hasarim Adonai bechol peter chamor tivde beser rim lo tivde v'aravto bechol bechor adam bevanai tivde v'chaya ki shocha bincha machar lemor mazot v'amartai laf bechazek yad Hasianu Adonai mi Misraim mi Beit Avadim vayehi ki hiksha paro l'shochenu v'harog Adonai kol bechor be'eretz Misraim mi bechor Adam v'bechor bechana al kain ani zeveyach Adonai kol peterechem Harim bechol bechor banai evdeh v'haya leyot al yadecha utotafo beinenecha ki behozek yad hotianu Adonai mi Misraim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chaye olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Beautiful God.
Please rise for Hatzi Kaddish.
174.
Yikada v'yikada shemei rabba ve'al madi rakirte ve'al michmachute v'chayechonu yomechon u'chaye dechol beit Yisrael bagala bagala u'bizman karim v'imeru amen Yehi shmei rabba mevorach le'olam u'lal me'omaya yibarach yibarach v'yishtabach v'yitzpa'ar v'yitroma v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitaleh shmei dekudesho b'richu le'la mikol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiram ve'alma ve'imeru
Amen. You are welcome to be seated. We now formally call Shane to the Torah as a bar mitzvah. Ya'amod, Ya'amod, Habachor Habar Mitzvah, Yisrael Yehoshua ben Chayatzipa v'Koresh Michael Halevi Maftir, Chazak Chazak v'Nihi Chazak.
Baruch hu et Adonai Hamvorah. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. V'chaya Ki shocha bincha machar lemor mazot v'amartai lav bechazek yad hosianu Adonai mi Misraim mi Beit Avadim vayehi ki hiksha paro l'shochenu v'charog Adonai kol bechor el eretz Misraim Bechor behema alkein ani zeveyach Adonai kol peterechem harim bechor bechor banai evdeh bechaya leyot al yadecha utotafo beinenecha ki bechozek yad hotzianu Adonai b'Misraim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher natan lanu Torah temet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu, Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Yamdu amag b'yavah hagolel.
We rise for the lifting and tying of the Sefer Torah.
And for that honor, the congregation and the Bar Mitzvah family honor Jory and Jason Stein.
You may be seated. Take your mask off. Do it all the way, nice and slow. Have some fun.
Shabbat Shalom. Before I chant the Haftarah, I would like to say a few thanks to the people that helped me get here today. First is my mom. You make really good enchiladas, and I absolutely love watching The Office with you and cringing very hard. Every day for the past 8 years, you would take me to school and then take me home after. Dad, I love playing basketball with you, going on trips to Dallas, and thank you so much for taking me to basketball practice at 5:30 in the morning recently. Sabrina, I love playing Game Pigeon with you, and I miss having you here all the time, although you probably don't miss the arguing. Jocelyn, I love getting Starbucks or boba with you and then watching TikTok in the car. And of course, the dog Perry. She told me she was going to tune in online, but she doesn't know how to. She is the best dog ever, especially when I'm screaming at my math homework. Nana, I love visiting you in Dallas and when we play 3D tic-tac-toe. Zeta, I am so happy you moved here to be with us, and I love when we hang out and watch TV. To the rest of my family, whether or not you are here in person or watching online, I couldn't have asked for a better family. To Rabbi Cohen and Cantor Ken, thanks for helping me through all of this. I would never be able to do this without you guys. Lastly, my friends, whether or not you're from basketball, school, or Hebrew school, you guys are amazing. The Haftarah for today is taken from the prophet Jeremiah. In the year 609 BCE, Egypt defeated Judah at the Battle of Megiddo. Pharaoh slays King Josiah and puts into power a young naive boy named Yehoiachin. He does this to keep Jerusalem from being a future issue by keeping the Jews from having a strong leader. Pharaoh, now boasting about his greatness, thinks he is the most powerful, but he ends up getting conquered by Babylon. Jeremiah sees Pharaoh as a blowhard. He's boastful and he really can't back it up. I think Pharaoh's boastfulness came from a lack of self-confidence, needing to cover for not being very smart, and in the general scheme of things, Pharaoh was very replaceable. Moses is well known for being the exact opposite of Pharaoh. When God chose him to lead the Jews out of Egypt, he says that he's not the right person because he's not a good public speaker, and he shouldn't be picked. Moses shows humility, which is a great trait for a leader, and we see his humility in action in our Torah reading today and throughout his life. I think humility is an important trait to have. In the real world, when you make mistakes, it's important to show humility since it shows that you can listen to others, that you can make mistakes, and it shows an understanding that you are not the greatest in the world. As a bonus, it allows people to relate with you. Being humble makes you human. As a leader, it is good for people around you to not be scared and think of you as inhuman or godlike. In the Torah, when our ancestors focused on humans as being like God, they got in trouble. Admitting mistakes is important. It helps us learn and grow. For instance, when it comes to basketball, my coach gets unhappy when I pretend I didn't make a mistake or I repeat those mistakes. When I admit to them and change and try to do things correctly, my coach is content and supportive of what I am doing. He sees the value in letting me make mistakes, but also teaching us to be humble and learn from those mistakes. Pharaoh's mistakes in the Haftarah, as it is in the Torah reading today, were not thinking about the future and seeing himself as godlike. In the end, both the Pharaoh of the Torah and the Pharaoh generations later in the Haftarah both end up weaker than ever. Jeremiah reminds us that having humility, as Moses did, is a necessary trait for our growth and survival. You will find the Haftarah on page 395 in your red Chumash. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratza v'divreihem hanemarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah u'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo u'v'nimvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek hadavar asher diver Adonai el Yirmiyahu hanavi lavo Nebuchadrezzar melech Babel lechakot et eretz Mitzrayim hagidu b'Mitzrayim v'chashmiu b'migdol v'chashmiu b'nof uvtach panhei simru hityasei v'chachein lach kiech lach erev sevivecha maduach nisecha favircha lo amad ki Adonai hadafo hirba koshel gam nafal yishal re'echu bayomru kuma ben ashuva elameinu ve'al eretz moladetenu mi pene herev chayona karo sham paro melch Mitzrayim she'on he'evir hamoed hayani neum hamelech Adonai tzevaot shemo ki ketavor becharim uchacharmel bayom yavo kelegala asilach yoshevet b'Mitzrayim kinov l'shamat yiheyeh v'nitzta me'en yoshev egla yefefia Mitzrayim keret misafon bava gam shevira bekirba ke'egle marbek ki gam haima yifenu nasu yachado lo amadu ki yom edam ba'alechem epekuratam kola kanachash yelechu ki bechayil yelechu ukardumot beulahu kehotevet etzim karto yairahu neumadonai ki la yachaker ki rabu me'arbe ve'en lachem mispar hovisha b'Mitzrayim nitna b'yam asafon amar Adonai tzevaot Elohei Yisrael hineni foked el amon minu ve'al pa'ar ve'al Mitzrayim ve'al Elohea ve'al melachea ve'al paro Ve'al habachim ba'uvtatim be'yan mekasher nashuam uvyad Nebuchadrezzar melech Bavel uvyad avadav v'acharei kain tishkon ki mekedem neum Adonai ve'ata al tira avdi Yaakov ve'atecha Yisrael ki hineni Moshiacha merachok ve'alzarecha me'eretz shivyam ve'shav Yaakov ve'shakat ve'shanan ve'en macharim ata al tira avdi Yaakov neum Adonai ki ani ki esechala bechol hagoyim asher hidaticha shama be'ocha lo esechala visarticha lemishpat v'nakeh lo anakecha Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Zor kol haolamim Tzadik bechol hadarot Hayal hane'eman haomer ve'oseh Hamdaver umkayem Shekol devarav emevat tzedek Ne'eman atahu Adonai Eloheinu V'ne'emanim devarecha V'davarecha mivarecha Echor lo yashuv rekam Ki melech ne'eman b'rachamav atah Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el hane'eman b'chol devarav Rachem al Sion ki hi beit hayenu Ulaluvo nefesh toshia bimheira beyamenu Baruch atah Adonai Besamei Sion bevanecha Samcheinu Adonai Eloheinu Beliahu hanavi avdecha Uvmachu beit David meshichecha Bimheira yavo veyagel yivenu Al kiso lo yeshev zar v'lo yinchalu od acherim ekavodo Ki beshem kachecha nishbat halo Shilo yichbei nero le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai Magen David Al haTorah v'al vodah v'al hanvi'im v'al yom haShabbat hazeh Shenatot lanu Adonai Eloheinu Likdusha v'limnuchai Lo chavod o tifaret Al hakol Adonai Eloheinu Al nachnu modim lach Uvmarchim otach Yibarashimcha befi kol chai Tamid le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat
Amen. Amen. Mazel tov, simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, simen tov, mazel tov, simen tov. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Yehelanu. Oh, the Chol Yisrael, we need help cleaning up. Yehelanu, Yehelanu. Oh, the Chol Yisrael, Yehelanu, Yehelanu. Oh, the Chol Yisrael. Israel. All right, we need some help. Come on. Eli, bring it up. Let's go. Come on. Here we go. I'm not sitting down here. Someone younger than me can do it. Eli. We need some little guys. All right, here, let's get them out of the way of the Torah. That we don't want. I think you're well loved, Shane. You got a lot of candy thrown at you. That's a lot of sweet wishes that went your way. Here, I'm saving some for you. How do you feel? Just had candy pelted at you. How do you feel? We, during this special moment, Shane has led us in prayer. Certainly, he taught us with his Devar Torah. He's read from the Torah. He just chanted his Haftarah so beautifully. It's certainly a time where we give our parents a chance to say some words, some thoughts, as their son has done some very special things. So, Kevin, Lisa, we ask if you'll come up and share some words with Shane.
Just be a few more hours of speeches now. Well, we want to remember with love today Shane's grandmother, Sandra Dickstein, who he was named after, and his grandfather, Bill Epstein. I know they'd be really proud of you today, Shane. Thank you for everyone who came today. And everyone who's watching on live stream, we understand if you couldn't make it, and we feel your love. And it means so much for us to have you all with us. And thank you to Rabbi Cohen, there she is, and to Cantor Cohen for all the preparation you did with Shane, and to Kevin, who also helped Shane immensely studying for his bar mitzvah today, and took him to some really early morning basketball practices as well. Shane, you've taught me many things over the years. How to appreciate expensive cars, really, really expensive cars. How to make a three-pointer. Mine still needs a lot of work. Lots of money-making schemes and stock tips. And I really should have taken those stock tips.
Yes.
Yes, it was my mistake. Okay. So you taught me something else this year. One night when we were driving home from basketball practice, you were red in the face and sweaty, and you told me how hard it was, and the coach made you do sprints, nonstop, drills, and you said to me in the car, it was the kind of thing that you don't like it when you're doing it, but later you're glad you did it, because it's what makes you better. And that's a really great lesson a lot of us adults have a hard time with. It's easy to set goals, aspirations, but it's really challenging to keep remembering those when it's tough along the way, when the work is hard and the work is unpleasant. So yes, giving up at 5 a.m. to get better at basketball is not easy, but you do it, and you're ready to go. And you've also worked really hard on your trombone practice and on your math homework. And there's just no instant results. I think you know that. It's not necessarily a direct correlation, that's math, between how much you practice and how many points you score. But over time, you do see results when you work hard at something, and you applied that lesson to your bar mitzvah, and I love seeing the joy you had today in showing us all your hard work. And I just hope that you continue to dream those big dreams, and you've really unlocked the secret to making them come true. So I love you so much, and I'm so proud of you.
I love you too.
Oh, just so nice.
Well, Shane, you probably couldn't tell because I was wearing a mask, but I've been smiling ear to ear the whole time, so this is... Shane, we are so proud of you. You worked hard, you were unafraid to take on new challenges, and you have excelled. Now, in one sense, you get to exhale. You prepared for months, you did it. But that's not exactly how it works. This isn't the end. This is actually the beginning. Your bar mitzvah marks the beginning of your Jewish adulthood. As a Jewish adult, you take on new responsibilities for yourself and for your community. You have proven today that you have the tools to lead services, to chant Torah and Haftarah, and to provide insightful commentary into the weekly portion. Your mother and I look forward to seeing your continued participation here in these areas at Agudas and wherever your life takes you as you continue your path as a Jewish adult. Mazel tov.
You can put it down, but you got to come back up here. You're not quite done yet. In a minute, you can actually take a seat for just a second, but we're going to be having your participation throughout the rest of the service as well. We had some special prayers and special thoughts from your parents. We now look in our Siddur to page 177. There you'll find a special prayer for our country as we pause to express our hopes for our world and certainly for our country, for the state of Israel. So we'd like to invite up your cousins, Evan and Alexander, if you'll come forward. They come. You have the honor of leading us in the prayer for the country. You'll find it on page 177.
Our God and God of our ancestors, with mercy accept our prayer on behalf of our country and its government. Pour out your blessings upon this land, upon its inhabitants, upon its leaders, its judges, officers, and officials, who faithfully devote themselves to the needs of the public. Help them understand the rules of justice you have decreed, so that peace and security, happiness and freedom will never depart from our land.
Together, Adonai, God, whose spirit is in all creatures, we pray that your spirit be awakened within all the inhabitants of our land. Uproot from our hearts hatred and malice, jealousy and strife. Plant love and companionship, peace and friendship among the many peoples and faiths who dwell in our nation. Grant us the knowledge to judge justly, the wisdom to act with compassion, and the understanding and courage to root out poverty from our land.
May it be your will that our land be a blessing to all who dwell on earth, and may you cause all peoples to dwell in friendship and freedom. Speedily fulfill the vision of your prophets. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. For all of them, from the least of them to the greatest, shall know me. And let us say, Amen.
Amen. Sure. Page 178, you'll find a prayer for the state of Israel. We invite up Sam and Rebecca, if you'll come forward. And yes, I mentioned it last night, but I look forward to inviting Rebecca as a colleague sometime or another, as she is a second-year rabbinical student at JTS currently. So we need more wonderful rabbis in our community, so we're glad you are taking on that challenge. We look forward to you being a rabbi in the future. 178, the state of Israel, prayer for.
Avinu Shebashamayim, stronghold and redeemer of the people Israel, bless the state of Israel, that it may be the beginning of our redemption. Shield it with your love, spread over it the shelter of your peace, guide its leaders and advisors with your light and your truth. Help them with your good counsel. Strengthen the hands of those who defend our holy land. Deliver them, crown their efforts with triumph. Bless the land with peace and its inhabitants with lasting joy. And let us say, Amen.
Amen. Sure. You'll turn to page 181. There you'll find Ashrei as we go into the concluding part of the Torah service. I'd like to invite back up Shane, if you'll come forward. And joining you for Ashrei, we're going to invite up any of our B'nai Mitzvah from the past year or two. You know who you are, so please come up. Basically, if you threw candy from the front, you got to come up. And any of our B'nai Mitzvah that will be coming up, we have several of you here as well. If you'll come forward to help with Ashrei and the concluding part of the Torah service, 181. Come on down.
Ashrei yoshvei beitecha, ode hallelujah selah.
Ashrei shekafalo, Ashrei shelo.
Tehillah leDavid, aromim chalohai hamelech, v'yavarcha shimcha leolam ba'ed.
Lador Yeshabach Ma'asecha Ugvarotecha Yagidu.
Hadar Kivod Hodecha V'divrei Niflotecha Asicha.
Vezuz Nerotecha Yomeru Ugdalatecha Asaprena.
Zeher Rabtucha Yabiu V'sifdatecha Yeranenu.
Chanun V'rachum Adonai Erecha Payim Bugdal Chased.
Tov Adonai Lakol V'rachamav Kol Masav.
Yoducha Adonai Kol Ma'asecha V'chasidecha Yivarchucha.
Kivod Malchutecha Yomeru Ugavratecha Yedaberu.
Lehodia Lifnei Adam Gavurotav V'chbod Hadar Malchuto.
Malchutecha Malchut Kol Olamim Memshaltecha B'chol Dor Vador.
So Mech Adonai Lechol Hanoflim V'zokef Lechol Hakufim.
Einei Chol Elecha Yesaberu V'yata Notein Lachem Et Ochlam Beito. Sadiq Adonai B'chol Dracha V'chasid B'chol Masav.
Harov Adonai Lechol Korav Lechol Asher Yikru Be'emet.
Retzon Yirei Yaseh Ve'et Shabbatam Yashma V'yoshiyem.
Shomer Adonai Et Kol Ahava V'et Kol Harshayim Yashmi.
Tehilat Adonai Yedaber Pi V'varech Kol Basar Shem Kodsho Le'olam Va'ed. V'anachnu Nevarech Yah Me'atav Yad Olam.
Hallelujah. We rise for Seder Haknasat Torah as we return the Torah scroll to the Aron HaKodesh. Page 183. We rise as the ark is opened.
Yechalelu Hashem Adonai, Ki nishkam Shemo levado, Hodo al eretz v'shamayim, Vayarem kerev lamo, Tehillah lecho hastihida, Livnei Yisrael, Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Mizmor lev David, Havul Adonai b'nei Eli, Havul Adonai kavanos, Havul Adonai kevod shemo, Ishtachavu Adonai b'chadra kodesh. Kol Adonai al hamayim, et hakavod hirim, Adonai al mayim rabim.
Kol Adonai b'koach, Kol Adonai b'hadar, Kol Adonai shover harazim, V'yishaber Adonai et arzei halevanon.
Vayarkidim kamo egel, Levanon yisiron kamo v'nei reimim.
Kol Adonai chotzef lavotesh, Kol Adonai yachil midbar, Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai yechol el ayalot.
Vayechesov yarot, Uchel halo kulo, Omer kavod.
Adonai lamavu yashav, Vayeshev Adonai melech leolam, Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yevarech et amo b'shalom. 184. Uvnucha yomar shuvah.
Et chayim hi lemachazikim ba letom pe'ah meushar derachecha darhei noam v'chol netivotecha
HaKodesh is closed. You may be seated. Shane's been giving us an awful lot of himself and his spirit this morning, so we have a few gifts for him. So I know I'd like to invite up Ricky Arad. Rabbi Ricky Arad is our executive director, representing the board of directors and of the synagogue itself. I know Craig could not be here today, otherwise he would be presenting to you, but Rabbi Ricky has some gifts for you. Thank you. Let me give you the other gift. Oh.
That was amazing, absolutely amazing. Been lots of bar mitzvahs, and this is really outstanding. So I want to, Shane, to show you our appreciation and the celebration of your accomplishment. We have a few gifts here for you, but before the gifts, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for making so many people here feel that this is possible. Such a phenomenal, flawless bar mitzvah is possible. You made everybody here proud, and everybody's there who's watching you on live stream. Everybody feels indebted to you. So first I have here a Tanakh, and this is on behalf of our congregation. We can see that you love Torah. This is going to be with you for the rest of your life. It's your very own Tanakh. And then we have also a Bekol Echad, that it is for you to learn and to enjoy all the songs that you heard and learned here at our school, and you're going to be at USY. It is from them that hopefully you'll be able to sing those songs. We have from our, because of the Haftarah that you did was so beautiful, we have an amazing Haftarah that this is right here that will be for you for the rest of your life. It is from our brotherhood, correct? Our men's club. For our men's club, to tell you that we're proud of you, and this is for you to keep as a memory of what you did here today. We also have from our sisterhood a Kiddush cup and candles that you can use for the rest of your life. Take it with you to college and enjoy it, so you'll always have those. And then on top of all this, we're not done yet, there's a lot of gifts. Here it is. Whoops. We have here, right? Shane Joshua Epstein, Israel Yehoshua. You have a beautiful certificate here to confirm and approve that you did the bar mitzvah in the most amazing way. So we're all very proud of you, and we hope you're going to continue with Jewish education. He can go straight to rabbinical and cantorial school as far as I'm concerned. You did very good. Here, Yasher Koach and Mazel Tov. Thank you, Rabbi.
You get one more speech. Sorry. Got to suffer a little longer, right? No, not at all. I certainly am, whatever I say, I know I'll speak for Cantor Ken today, because I know that he enjoyed working with you, loved being able to teach you and see you grow through the last few months in all that you've been doing. And I will echo that, because that you have been amazing as the 7th grade class last year. You were always eager to answer questions, to participate. Your knowledge, of course, based on upbringing of your family, your parents. You have wonderful role models. Your dad and your mom both provide wonderful Jewish role models and menschlichkeit role model for you as well. And we know you've adopted that. And your ability to study, your ability to ask questions, as I talked about last night, is incredible. You see the text in different ways. You stop to think about it and consider it. And what's most important is you're always open to thinking about it in other ways. Whenever we've talked about it in class, you've always been, okay, well, let me think about that. And so that's the mark of somebody who really is a true learner. And it's easy to see that it comes from the heart for you. Your mom mentioned about the hard work you put into basketball and into everything. This, just because it looked easy on the bima today, doesn't mean it was easy. We know you worked hard, and it shows. But most important is when those words come out of your mouth, we feel it. We feel the spirit and the heart that's behind it. And Shane, I hope that what you will be able to do as you go through life is continue to share your spirit, share your heart, as you do the amazing deeds that you do, as you participate in the life of the community here. Your dad said it well, this is not the end. It is merely a beginning. So I know, personally, I know I'm going to see you here on the Bima reading Torah, maybe in a few weeks. We'll give him a break or two, a couple weeks. Then you'll be hearing from me. But we know you're going to continue to share your gifts with the congregation. And I know you're going to do it not because your mom says so, or your dad says so, or the rabbi asks you, but because you really, truly do enjoy it and like it, and it's a part of who you are. And so that's what makes this day so special for all of us, is that you've given a part of who you really are. And we are thrilled. The most profound blessing we can give to you during this amazing moment in your life, and we do this at other life cycle moments, is Birkat Kohanim, the priestly blessing, which is a very profound blessing. It asks for protection and for peace, and it really asks to be able to see God's countenance, God's presence in your life. I think that's something, even as a young man, you already see, and I know will continue to be cultivated as you grow. So as you stand here on the bima, we again share with you the priestly blessing with the hope that you will see only blessing in your life as you move forward. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God bless and protect you. May Adonai's presence or countenance shine upon you, and may Adonai bestow kindnesses upon you. May Adonai's countenance be lifted up towards you and grant you a sense of shalom in all that you do, in all of who you are. And together we say, Amen. We also, I think, at this time, we mark a very special moment in your lives, and when we do that, we have a special bracha, a special blessing that we recite, which is Shehechianu. So I hope you, the whole congregation, as we celebrate with you, we join together in Shehechianu, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Mazel tov. I'm very proud of you. But he's not done. We're going to keep Shane up here to help us through the brief Musaf service. We ask congregation to turn to page 184. There you will find Chatzi Kaddish. And we ask if you're able to rise as Shane guides us through the Musaf service. 184 at the bottom.
Yikada v'yikada shemei rabba.
Amen.
Be'alma divra kirte be'almich malchute b'chayecha v'yomecha uchayedecho be'Yisrael ba'gala uvizman kariv v'imeru amen yehi shmei rabba mevorach le'olam olam me'almaya yibarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitroma v'yinaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudasha brichu leila mikol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiram be'alma ve'imeru.
Amen. We begin the Amidah together, page 185 in the Hebrew, on the left side of the Hebrew page.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elokei Avoteinu Elokei Avraham Elokei Yitzchak v'Elokei Yaakov Elokei Sarah Elokei Rivka Elokei Rachel v'Elokei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovin B'karneh hakol v'socher hasdei avo umvigoel nibnei b'neihem leman shemo b'yahava Melech Ozer Umokei Mashiach Umagen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Uvokei Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei Meitim atah, Rav Lechoshia. Mashiv HaRuach, Uvmorid HaGashem. Mechalel Chaim Bechesed. Mechayim Meitim Berachamim Rabim. Somech Noflim Berafech Olim. Umatir Asurim. Umekayim Emunato. Lishenei Afar. Ki Chamocha Bal Gevurot. Umidom Melech Medhit Umekayeh Umasmiya Yeshua Eman atah lechayei metim Baruch atah Adonai Mahayei hametim. Naritzecha v'nakdishecha Kesod Shiach Sarfei Kodesh Hamakdishim Shimcha b'Kodesh Kakatu Al Nevi'echa V'Karazel Zebeyamar Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot, Melech kol haaretz kevodo. Kevodo male, male, olam ayin mekom kevodo. Kevodo male, male, olam ayin mekom kevodo. Kevodo malay, mesharta shoalim, shoalim zelaze, ayim ekam kevodo. Mesharta shoalim, shoalim zelaze, ayim ekam kevodo. Lumalata baruch yomeru, baruch kevod Adonai, mimkomo. Mimkomo hu yife berachamim v'yacham ham yachadim shemo, ham yachadim shemo, erev v'voker bechol yom tamid. Pamayim, pamayim, be'achava shema omrim. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hu Eloheinu, Hu Avinu, Hu Malkeinu, Hu Moshienu, V'Hu Yashmienu, Berachama Shenit, Shenit Lenei Kochai, Lehiyot Lachem Leolachim, Ani Adonai Elohechem. Uvdivrei kadshecha katov leomor. Yimloch Adonai leolam, Elohai Zion, ledor vador, hallelujah. Ledor vador, ledor vador, ledor vador, ledor vador, ledor vador, nagid god lecha. Ledor vador, ledor vador, ledor vador, ledor vador, ledor vador. Nagi god lecha, ulenetzach netzachim, kedushach techanakdish, קדושתך נקדיש, בשבתך אלוהינו, מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיגה לך. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיגה לך. כי אל מלך גדול, גדול וקדוש, גדול קדוש אתה. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
Amen. When you're through, you're welcome to be seated. As always, please take your time. We continue with the singing of Oseh Shalom 192 at the bottom.
Oseh Shalom
Vimromav,
Tu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Ve'imru Amen.
Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Amen. We continue with Kaddish Shalem, page 203.
Yikadavi Kadashem Me Rabbah Be'amadi Rakirte Be'amich Malchute V'chayechonu V'yamechonu V'chayedocho Beit Yisrael Bagala Uvizman Karim Be'imeru Amen Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach
Le'olam olam me'amaya yitbarach.
Yibarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitramah v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yithalev v'yithalal shmei kedusha brichu le'elam mikol birchata v'shirata tishbechata v'nechemata dami ram be'alma ve'imeru
Amen.
Tigabal sotachon uvachon dechor Yisrael kadam avuchon dibishmaya v'imeru
Amen.
Yehesh lama rabba mishamaya v'chayi alenu ve'al Yisrael v'imeru
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav hu yaseh shalom alenu ve'al Yisrael v'imeru
Amen. Page 204, you'll find in Kelohenu. We'd like to invite up once again all of our children and any of our B'nai Mitzvah, past, present, future, any friends, any cousins, anyone else who wants to come up. If you'll come on up, 204. Come on, Shane wants some company up here.
Ein Kelohenu, ein Kadonenu, ein Kemalkeinu, ein Kemoshienu, mi Eloheinu, mi Kadonenu, mi Kemalkeinu, mi Kemoshienu, no del Eloheinu, no del Adonenu, no del Emalkeinu, no del Kemoshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu, Atahu Shehiru Avoteinu,
Mefahanecha eketoretas. We rise for Aleinu, page 205.
Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol latet gedula leotzer breshit shelo asanu kegoye haratzot velo samanu kemishpachot hadama shelo sam chokenu kachem begor aleinu kechol hamonam Vanachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu noteh shamayim beyoser haaretz umoshav yekaro bashamayim imal ushklina tuzo begovei veromim hu Eloheinu einon emet malkeinu efezulato kakatu vedorato v'yadatayom bechashevota elevava ki Adonai hu Elohim bashamayim mimal v'yaharetz mitachat einon. Kakatu b'toratecha Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed v'nemar v'chaya Adonai le'melech al kol ha'aretz bayom hahu Ushema, 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 Echad, Ushema, Echad.
You are welcome to be seated. Thank you, everyone on the Bima. Appreciate you helping out. Shane, you can take a seat for just a minute. And we're going to get you back up for the end.
As we prepare to recite Mourner's Kaddish today, we continue to give our hugs of support to Phil Landis on the death of his mother, Ellen Pesnornik, and certainly to Howard Always on the death of his wife, Myrna Always. We also mention the names of those whose yortzites occur today and in the week that is coming. William Emmanuel Alterman, Howard Anderson, Abe Leon Argo, Rebecca Barrett, Joan Carol Bernstein, Aaron Block, Abraham Blucher, Isidore Brownstein, Israel Davis, Minnie Davis, Martin Epstein, Sam Friedman, Clara Schwartz Goldman, Jacob Halfant, Harry Halpin, Ralph Casper, Helen Francis Katzman, Rochelle Klepak, Morris Krakow, Edward Coopersmith, Sally Cohen-Lasky, Jack Lee, Leonard Lehrman, Nathan Aaron Lehrer, Ben Lyons, David Natishan, Herman Natishan, Aaron Mendoza Pearsall, Will Israel Rauch, Yitzchak Schweike, Anna Silberman, and Edward Wilk. Certainly add to those any names that you have in your thoughts at this moment. Those reciting Kaddish Tome, the Mourner's Kaddish, you'll find it on page 207. Those reciting, you're welcome to rise and join with me. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah B'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute b'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael ba'agala u'bizman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam melomei olmaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei dekudisha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran v'yalma v'imru Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. You are welcome to be seated. A few brief announcements this morning we have. As a reminder, of course, don't forget we have our morning minyan tomorrow morning here at 9 a.m. in the chapel, and weekdays at 7:30 a.m. Please come help make a minyan. We also will be looking ahead to Tu B'Shvat this week. This Sunday after Sunday school, there's regular Sunday school tomorrow. After that, at 12:15, we hope you'll join us in the Cavi Family Pavilion, along with PJ Library and Agudas. We are celebrating Tu B'Shvat together, and we invite you for a community-wide Tu B'Shvat celebration. You can enjoy a farmer's market complete with hay rides and crafts and other outdoor surprises. I believe there will be lunch available for a small fee to enjoy. And again, it's all outside, so hopefully we can be safe. And also, I know that the weather, I think, is supposed to be a little bit nicer tomorrow, a little cool, a little warmer, hopefully. So it should be a nice day out. We hope you'll come and enjoy. Entire community, and you can register if you want this evening after Shabbat. There's you've got it in your email. You can find it, or I'm pretty sure if you just show up, you'll be fine. So just come on and enjoy. There's also a community author event, West Side Rising, a book by Char Miller, who is one of our own in the community. Monday, January 10th at 7 p.m. with our focus on environmental sustainability. The Agudas Achim Social Action Haftarah participated in organizing this event. It's a community-wide event again. Probably a little late to purchase the book, but you can certainly join for the discussion of the topic. And again, it's the subject of environmental sustainability here in San Antonio. So you can check your weekly email for more information on how to join and register for the event. It's not too late. That again is Monday at 7 o'clock. Next week, we will be celebrating Sisterhood Shabbat, so we hope you will come back and enjoy with our sisterhood as they participate in the service and celebrate an annual Sisterhood Shabbat. Also, along the lines of Tu B'Shvat, it is not too late. We're anticipating the arrival of Tu B'Shvat on the 17th, so we're excited again to participate as a community in JNF's Tu B'Shvat tree sale campaign. Each person who plants a tree receives a tree certificate. You've seen them. They're beautiful and reminding us of our connection to the land and to the people of Israel. You can see it actually in your handout. There's an information about it. You can find it in your weekly email. You can get on our Facebook page for the link to purchase a tree to be planted in the state of Israel for Tu B'Shvat. So keep that in mind. A couple of other things. Unfortunately, we are going to have to be err on the side of caution, certainly, that we have to postpone. We're not going to cancel. We're going to postpone our afternoon of Jewish humor due to the rise in cases of COVID in our community. So we are put that off until later in the spring. It was to be January 23rd. We'll let you know as soon as we have an exact date. We could use all the humor we can get, so we will find it at a time when we can do it safely together as a community, so keep that in mind. And then finally, anyone who wants to do a little bit of learning, whether you're here or from far away, we are going to stay on Zoom starting January 26th at 7:30. Our Journey into Judaism class will now turn into Turning Points in Jewish History. Come join me and the class as we study Mark Rosenstein's Turning Points in Jewish History. It's a wonderful book that'll help us explore pivotal themes and issues from our history that continue to touch us today as Jews. You can RSVP to Jessica in the office to receive the Zoom link. Everybody is welcome. You might want to purchase the book or come to first class and then certainly decide if you would like it. It's a great book to have on your shelf in general, and we'll be having some fun learning from it. So keep that in mind. I want to thank everybody who participated in the service. You see there are a lot of people who helped enhance our Shabbat. You can see the order of those who read Torah. We thank all of you for reading Torah. We thank you bringing your family, Shane, for some help on the Bima here. It was wonderful. We had Zach Epstein doing Psukei de Zimra and Jory Epstein doing Shacharit for us. Shane, of course, guided us through the Torah service and through Musaf. And again, to all of those who read Torah, we appreciate it. Haftarah, Shane did himself, of course. And we thank Phil for being our wonderful usher all around on the floor, making sure everybody got up when they needed to, got here. We also have our ushers in the back. I think there was, who did we have back there? It was Jared Diamond. Yes, Jared Diamond and Steve Socklad. Thank you. You were in the back there helping us out. And Sherry Barenblatt, of course, who's one of our regulars every week. But it's nice to see you sitting and enjoying as a relative. How about that? So that's wonderful. And again, I encourage you to read about the Barenblatt Torah, which is very much a part of not just Shane and his family's history, but the history of our community as well. So keep that in mind. We also want to give a shout out to our Gabayim. Thank you, Bernard, for being here on the Bima helping out. And Mark, as always, we appreciate you helping with the Torah service, as you always do, making sure things run smoothly, calling people up. And we want to thank our office staff and our maintenance staff. Thank you, Rabbi Ricky Rod and Leah, and certainly Jessica in the office. They've worked hard to make sure that we had our handouts and everything is as it should be. And we thank, again, our maintenance staff for making sure the building and the sanctuary is as it should be. A couple of quick announcements. We're going to head out after we do Adon Olam and Kiddush and Motzi here on the Bima. We'll head into the social hall. There are tables, I believe, outside. And as I was reminded, Kevin, appropriately, we want to remind everybody, please keep your masks on as you get food. And then there are, again, tables outside. And you can enjoy your Kiddush lunch, certainly sponsored by the family. We appreciate Lisa and Kevin for you doing that for us so we can enjoy and continue to celebrate Shabbat. Right now, we'll see, I think we are planning to do Torah Talk. If we've got some space in the library, we can do that, or outside if we can. So those of you who do want to do a little Torah study after Kiddush lunch, you're welcome to hang around. We'll study a little bit of Torah before we head on home. So keep all of that in mind as we turn to page 210, I believe. Nope, one more page. I always mess it up. 211. 211, you will find Adon Olam, and I don't even have to call them up because I think Shane would have made sure they come up. We have Jocelyn and Sabrina are going to help him in a very special Adon Olam. It happens to be one of my favorite. And again, I want to give a shout out and a yashikach to Shane, who did an absolutely amazing job here on the Bima. He's just been a delight to be here on the Bima with and to share tefillah with, and we thank him for enhancing our celebration today and for becoming a bar mitzvah. We say mazel tov. So with that, you will find 211 Adon Olam followed by Kiddush and Motzi in just a moment.
Adon Olam Asher Malah B'Terem Kol Yetzir Nivra Leit Nasa B'Chetzal Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Kichot HaKol Le'ado Yimloch Nora Ve'hu Haya Ve'hu Hoven Ve'hu Yiyeh B'Tifara Ve'hu Yiyeh B'Tifara Ve'hu Echad Ve'en Sheni Lechan Shilo Le'Hafira Ve'li Reshit Ve'li Tachlit Ve'lo Ha'oz Ve'ha'misra Ve'lo Ha'oz Ve'ha'misra Ve'hu Eli Ve'chai Kagali Ve'sor Chedli Ve'etzara Ve'hu Nisi Umanosli Ve'nat Kosi Ve'yom Ekra Ve'nat Kosi Ve'yom Ekra Ve'yado Avkiruchi Ve'etishan Ve'ayira Ve'imrochi Geviati Adonai Li Ve'lo Ira Adonai Li Ve'lo Ira. Shabbat Shalom. We invite you to rise as Lisa and Kevin come up to join their children. Page 77, you will find Vishamru. Either way. You can come over there so they can hear you. Page 77, you'll find Vishamru as we do Kiddush and Motzi together. If you will all lead us.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat Ledorotam berit olam Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et
ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat Ledorotam berit olam.
Beinu ben b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam oti le'olam
Oti le'olam Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat Ledorotam berit olam.
Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et
Haaretz Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat Ledorotam berit olam.
Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat
Vayinafash Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat Ledorotam berit olam.
Al ken baruch Adonai yom Shabbat Vaikashechu Savri.
L'chaim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen. L'chaim. Here we go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen. Shabbat shalom. Hey, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat. Shabbat, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat. Shabbat, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Hey, Shabbat shalom. Hey, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Mazel tov, Yasher Tov. Don't worry, we'll smush the pudding later. You crushed it.
I kept this for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Change from one bow to another bow. Yasher Tov. I was second triennial, you were third, so we need to find a first.
For you. You want another one? Here. Have a bunch. How'd you get those? Where'd you get those from?
I picked my two favorite ones. Did you see Susan's here and Reese? Did you see that?
Baba.
You're not getting juice. Just go without this. You don't need grape juice right now. You need it. Me too. Soon we'll be okay.
Yeah, she's saying she had it, or it used to be that they do Tootsie Rolls, and she's like,
troublemaker or whatever, and now he's like the most philosophical. He's literally like studying in yeshiva for a year after college. It's hilarious.
I mean, Eric, like, we live in the mountains, and you talk about like we're gonna do.
That's what he does. That's his job. That's so far.
30 seconds from now.
Yeah.
No, that's the part I can't handle. Don't do that. What? He's like, no, it's gonna be wrong.
You're like earmuffs. Shh.
Right, yeah. Seriously, and he's like, it's better than doing it. How about like rock? And you can also rock. That's so good. I told him I'll take them until they're 10, and then you've got them until they're 25. I don't want to deal with driving. I don't want to deal with sleeping. I don't know what to do.
Acid? You don't want to do it.
That's so and that's his jam. He's like, cool, got it, on it. I don't know what to do when they can't talk back.
Exactly. He probably wants it the same way.
That's exactly right.
That's amazing. Also, these doilies are like really high tech.
Hilarious.
It's so impressive.
Yeah.
Do they have like clips under them? Or?
Yeah, it's got a thing.
So they actually stay on.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's got this big
Oh,
thing.
like a whole hair clip.
Yeah. They handed me one and they handed me the other one, and I was immediately like, that's going to be mine.
So here's the history of the Derek story.
Yes.
Torah being passed to the Israel service. Great-great-grandfather, where he would hold Shabbat services for the people in the neighborhood. Eventually, it was donated, costed as a road ferry, and then for a long time at day school, and then after he came close 6 years ago, it became the church, which is where we grew up. That's where we grew up. That's where your grandfather. She was for bat mitzvah here. Yeah, but I was fairly young.
You were like one of the first.
Yeah. He comes into this building when I was in.
So you're showing off the
I gotta tell you that I refound my yacht again. It occasionally goes on a hiatus behind some cabinet or something.
You know, for example, if you want a sample, it's a nice
and then I take it out and use it, it doesn't end up back in there. And see, that's where the. Yeah, I also.
I have a telescope book.
Ain't one of mine. Yeah, no, that's. I love my yacht.
Is that a lefty or a right?
And of course,
They're all righties.
there's a black yacht.
Really?
I made it.
You made
I made my yacht.
Because you're
He's done the right hand, left hand, and
the double side.
Yeah. But I've got
I remember the display next to the bar.
He's got a new display.
I'm sure he does. I just.
Yeah.
I recommend getting food in a table at the number.
Is it actually actively? I thought it was good.
Drizzling.
Anyone want candy?
Some guy walks up to Shane and goes, I was keeping this for you the whole service. Shane's like, thanks.
Nana took some in her purse.
Nice. I told Dad, so we always, it's a debate whenever they get like, we saw them